On Health Her Way, we're asking the questions you want answered about your body.
Together with our female healthcare experts, we're diving into the questions that might seem too scary, too silly, trivial, or taboo. No topic is off limits.
Join us as we talk about Health Her Way. Welcome to Health Her Way. I'm Brooklyn Elbert.
And I'm Meredith Cunningham, and we are joined by the true star of our show. Kara is back again. Kara Pepper is a licensed marriage and family therapist. She's our senior mental health counselor at Covenant Children's, specializing in supporting women and families with babies in the NICU. She works to provide essential emotional support and therapy regarding a variety of issues and concerns. And she's been probably one of the most educating and infotainment people that we've had on this show. And so we're so happy to welcome her back again today.
Happy to be here.
So we're going to tackle a topic today.
Let's go.
I'm going to start this out with a joke, which I think a lot of us are actually going to realize is not very funny, right? But Christmas morning, kids are opening the gifts and the dad's saying, "So what did you get?" And the kid thinks it's a joke, right? Like, oh, dad's just being funny. When in true reality, the mom realizes, oh no, dad has no idea what any of the kids are getting.
Yeah, daggers are being shot across the room.
Yeah, you're sipping the coffee, kind of side-eyeing a little bit. And
Mom did all the work.
Yes, it's supposed to be funny, but I think it shows the true testament to the holidays. And while I think most all of us are so excited for them to be coming up soon, we're also kind of dreading them at the same time. So that's what we want to talk to you about today.
Absolutely.
Holiday stress and how we get through it. Okay, so husband shaming aside, we'll get that out of the way early on in the episode. Why are they so overwhelming for some people?
I think there's so much wrapped into it. I think it's this time where we think about tradition more than we usually do. I think there's some expectation to interact with people that we don't normally see. There's lots of factors that play into it, that it's already a busy time of the year, and we already talked about how much busyness impacts us. So then we combine that with all these extra pressures to make it pretty, to accommodate everyone in our lives in a short amount of time. And oftentimes it's on us as the woman of the family to make all of those things go and to look happy and joyful while we're doing all of that behind the scenes work.
So that being said, do you think maybe sometimes there's self-induced theft of joy because we put so much pressure on ourselves that we don't actually stop to enjoy the holidays we're supposed to be enjoying them?
Absolutely. I think we feel this pressure to check all the boxes, and that keeps us from living in the moment and actually enjoying the time with our kids, which, by the way, is what they actually want. It's what they're actually going to remember. But we have this idea that we're going to let someone down. And so we don't let ourselves do the things that are actually the fun parts of the holidays.
Yeah. So how can someone feeling like they have to do it all, the cooking, the shopping, the hosting, everything like that, how can you either ask for help or navigate the pressure of not feeling that way?
Yeah, I think about it kind of in two parts. One is the why behind why you're doing things. So am I doing this event or an Elf on the Shelf? Am I doing that because it's an Instagram trend or because it's a family tradition we've done for years? Or are we doing it because it actually brings us joy? And if it's not fulfilling family relationships, bettering the family, creating good memories, it's got to go. Mm-hmm. And then on those things that stay on the list, we've got to be willing to actually ask for help. To sit down and trust our partners to say, hey, let's make the Christmas list together. Can you help with XYZ? Because regular life is still going on during the holidays. So getting support even in those basic things can free us up to do some of the more seasonal stuff.
I literally was texting with my girlfriends today about Elf on the Shelf and how I don't want to do it because it is one more thing to add to the list that I don't want to have to be responsible for. But also I want my kid to behave 12 months out of the year, not just 1 month when an elf is watching.
It's a metaphor, though. It's something that we're doing tons of work for behind the scenes that nobody can ever know about, that is totally for someone else. And that's not always a bad thing. We can choose to do those things. But when we're only doing those things in the holidays, it's setting us up for a lot of resentment towards our families.
Let's talk about that, because I think obviously the things we've mentioned, the cooking, the gifts, those are checklist items. But man, families can also be a part of our stress. And maybe it's not even because they're stressful, but just a lot of people in one spot or having to get to somewhere, traveling during the holidays is never easy. So can we talk about families and how those dynamics also put pressure on us?
Absolutely. Like thinking about even in the context of, let's say, a newly married couple, figuring out we love both sides of our families. But where are we going to go? And how are we going to make everybody feel included and appreciated? How are we not going to feel like we're missing things? And I think the number one thing is sometimes we go in with high expectations of I am going to make all of these things happen and I am not going to let anyone down in the process. And we've got to get realistic. There are only so many days in December. Thanksgiving is one day. Halloween is one day. Figuring out what is real and offering things to our families that we can actually do. So if I can't make it from Lubbock to Dallas on Christmas morning, that's okay. That's real. But what can I offer to be a part of the holiday that doesn't kill me on the inside?
I think that's the hard part, is advocating for yourself at the end of the day, because you don't want to let people down. But as the child of divorce, sometimes my day includes multiple stops. I know yours does too. And then you get a spouse, and then, you add a third or fourth stop to it.
And what about if you want Christmas with your kids at your own house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God forbid.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I made a rule when my son was born a couple of years ago. Like, we're not traveling on Christmas anymore. If you want to see him, you are more than welcome. Come stay at our house. Our doors are always open, but we are no longer traveling on the holidays. So because we wanted to be able to open Christmas gifts with him at our house on Christmas morning and not have to bounce around and worry about rushing or anything like that. And I think it's been it's helped a lot in protecting my own peace.
It's about making traditions that are like that, that feed the need that you have to have those memories with your son, but are open to the people that you actually care about. So it's not about saying, no, we're not going to see you this holiday. It's, we'd love to see you. Here's how that could work for us. So opening the door to some flexibility. And maybe even being flexible on traditions. Maybe if we've got a family and now there's grandkids involved and there's multiple sides of the family, maybe it's super important for us to get together at the holidays, but maybe it's not going to be on Christmas Day or Thanksgiving Day itself. We're going to prioritize a Saturday between. Those types of things that are compromises that satisfy people and also protect those things that we're looking for.
Let's talk about financial stress.
Yeah.
The holidays can be super expensive, not just from gift buying, but attending events, Christmas cards, whatever it may be. Gosh, how much does finances play on our stress?
It plays so much into it because if we're already budgeting for other things, sometimes the holidays can feel like they're getting in the way or they're creating this extra pressure that can even cause some panic around finances. So I always encourage people, budget for the holidays ahead of time, but we're close now. So what do you do in this situation where things are feeling expensive and they're coming up fast? It's another be realistic. Going into debt for the holidays is going to create more stress for you most likely. So what can we say yes to? What's important? What aligns with our values versus what are the events that maybe we say no to so that we don't feel that financial pressure? It is okay to say no to things that we can't afford. It is okay to do gifts differently. I think there's a lot of families right now transitioning to white elephant gift exchanges for large families, those kind of things, extended families, to decrease some of that financial pressure. And I think that's a great thing. So considering opening up some of those traditions in your family can be helpful.
We started doing that a long time ago, honestly. And it's fun. So,
Yeah.
I have 7 siblings and we do it too because
Well,
golly.
yeah.
It also keeps things less materialistic. It keeps you in the spirit of the gratitude and the joy, like we've talked about, preserving our peace while still engaging in the tradition part.
Yeah.
We've talked about the things that can trigger the stress, but tell us some of the signs and symptoms we may either see in ourselves or see in our loved ones that might help us understand like, oh, they might be a little stressed out right now, you know?
Yeah. I think one of the first things I'm always looking for is, and these people that I know really well in my family, are they snappier than normal? Are they avoiding things that maybe we would normally do or talk about, but I see them pulling back? Or are they just flat out kind of in this, where they're having these expressions of, I can't do it all. Some people are going to be more vocal. Some people are going to pull back more. I'm also looking for...
And they marry each other.
Exactly. One person's going to have headaches. One person's going to have GI issues. Those physical signs of stress that we see all throughout the year can tend to just get worse, which also, like, we're eating things we normally don't. So a lot of things can change in our body physically at that time anyway. We already just kind of feel off. So looking for that in yourself, like, am I feeling off? Am I feeling sluggish? Not always food related. Sometimes it is. But doing those kind of check-ins with ourselves of how is my body feeling? How are my energy levels? Because the holidays are go, go, go. So we're burning a lot of energy. We're losing a lot of sleep usually. Looking for those kind of things and those patterns.
So what are some things we can do to make sure we're taking care of ourselves, our self-care?
Absolutely. I think when it comes to the to-do list part of it, delegating. So realizing, like, can we do a potluck instead of me cooking the whole meal? So that way I'm not spending as much time on this, figuring out those kind of swaps. But then also, like, after we've delegated, actually putting aside the time and saying it's okay if this goes in a gift bag instead of being perfectly wrapped, if I can go take a shower and watch a Christmas movie with my kids, or if, we're doing something relaxing on our drive to Thanksgiving instead of Christmas shopping. Those kind of things, being willing to say no, blocking out the time to take care of ourselves will then allow us to be more productive later, and we'll be a more sane version of ourselves when we do that. So I think it's a lot about setting aside the time when it comes to holidays.
The most wonderful time of the year also falls in the most respiratory illness season time of the year.
Yes.
And it never fails. Every December, I end up with some kind of cold, flu, upper respiratory infection, whatever. And then I feel even more behind because I had to take some time off. But I think it goes back to what you were saying. If I don't take the time off and I keep pushing it, then I'm going to have to recover for even longer, or I'm going to be even sicker. And part of me thinks that it's always God saying, you needed a break. You needed to slow down. So I'm literally going to make you slow down for a little while. But then I feel like we beat ourselves up and we feel guilty. And so we've talked about delegating and giving space. Mentally, though, our brains are not fair to us.
No.
We've talked about this before, and we make up things, and it's not fair. But how do we help our brain understand, even though rationally delegating sounds like a perfect, wonderful idea?
But you can come up with 5 reasons right now why that's a bad idea.
Correct. So help us help our brains do the right thing.
So I think a lot of us are perfectionistic around the holidays. And so we don't want to delegate things because it might not be done right. So to me, that's where I start with myself mentally even, is this something that needs to live up to this standard? Or is it something that if it's just completed, it's okay? So giving yourself permission to even evaluate the tasks. Also, going back to that why. Why does this task matter to me? Is this representative of giving my kid a good childhood? Is this representative of healing a childhood wound I have? Looking at those kind of things and letting yourself actually sit with, why is this distressing to me? What about this makes me feel like I want to crawl out of my skin if I hand this over? So again, it's about the time, sitting with yourself, asking those questions, and letting yourself pick the things that are really priorities for you, and being okay with, okay, I'm going to put in the work here, and I'm going to choose to fight through the discomfort. I'm going to sit with, this is not going to look like I want it to. And I can grieve that a little bit, and then I can move forward.
I want to talk about social media real quick.
Yeah.
I think it can be so good during the holidays to get to see people. It's the same reason why we have Christmas cards. It's like digital Christmas cards these days. You get to see how people's years have gone. You get to see their people's kids grow up. at the same time, there's a lot of comparison and, Pinterest perfect. And you're comparing your life to a social media influencer who actually gets paid all day, every day to just be on the internet and make things look perfect. Whereas the rest of us have 9 to 5s that we have to do, And so can we talk about social media for a while and maybe how breaks might be good during this time of year?
Absolutely. I also just want to bring another point up with that. It can even make us jealous of family dynamics that we feel like somebody else has. If we're missing somebody who's passed at the holidays, or there's a broken relationship with mother, spouse, sibling, whoever that is, and we're picturing, oh, all of these people have these perfect relationships, all the people want to be around them. And we can even feel lonely because of the social media. It's not even just about the perfect hosting table, even though that plays into it. So I think there is a certain level of like, I don't know about y'all, Christmas content and Thanksgiving content started showing up in August on my pages.
Yeah.
And so we're inundated for months with the pressure of thinking about these things. So we've been mulling over it, building up these expectations or mourning preemptively. And then we get to the holidays and it's more and it's more and it's more. And it makes it feel like it's never enough. And so something people can do is you can filter even like your For You pages and what will show up on your feeds. It's okay if you don't want to totally get off social media to block Christmas or Thanksgiving as a term. So that way you're able to engage with the things you want to, but you're not getting all of the marketing that's making you feel less than.
It's crazy how it's not even Halloween yet. And like, if you go to Hobby Lobby, love Hobby Lobby, but good Lord, it is already Christmas Central there. And it's like, why can't we just have one thing at a time,
Yeah.
And I feel like that you're exactly right. Is that like life and society doesn't let us just enjoy and be present in the moment.
No, it's not profitable for us to just be in the moment. It's profitable for us to be thinking about the next thing and the next thing and preparing and comparing, because that's going to make us spend money, which then goes back to that financial trap. It's expensive because it's designed to be expensive.
Yeah. You brought up something a minute ago about people maybe feeling lonely during the holidays. What advice do you have for those people or someone who's maybe grieving the loss of a loved one this time of year?
I think the first thing is it's okay that it looks different. It's okay that the holiday doesn't feel the same. You're allowed to feel sad about that, is the first thing I would want anybody to know. You're allowed to opt out if you need to. You're allowed to take a trip or be by yourself if that feels healthiest. But also you're allowed to accept the invitation you didn't expect. If a neighbor invited you, you're not an imposition. You're welcome there. And truly believing that you're welcome in spaces helps you find new holiday memories and experiences that help you feel less isolated. So I think sometimes we perceive ourselves as burdens more so than we actually are.
Why do we do that? Not just during the holidays, but in general. I feel like nobody ever wants to impose anymore. Like, why? Okay, so like my husband was out of town, my son was sick, and people kept asking, can I bring you anything? And I said no. And then I just placed an order and picked it up at the grocery. Why didn't I let anybody help me,
I think there's a couple of factors there. I think we can barely scratch the surface of that. But one, it's so easy to just have things delivered, to not have to interact with people. And so we're saying, well, why would I have you drive over here if the DoorDash driver could do it? But ultimately, that decreases our connection to people. I think we also perceive ourselves as burdens. I think societally, we operate so individually that when it comes time for community, yeah, I'll help you, but I don't want to ask that. And maybe internally, maybe we do feel a little begrudging when the person takes us up instead of using DoorDash. And so we're saying they must feel that way too. So maybe we need to check ourselves a little bit there. Have we fallen into that trap ourselves in how we're looking at community? And if so, that's probably where it's coming from. But also, we just feel like the world's so busy, we don't want to be another thing. We don't want to be another thing on the checklist that's making somebody else resent us or might hurt that relationship. But we don't realize it's actually going to build that relationship to say yes to people.
Here I am unwrapping Pandora's box for our next episode with Kara.
Yeah, right? I've already got a few in my mind.
Always. That's why we keep bringing you back on.
Okay, so when we think about the holidays, we think about how much we eat, honestly. Thanksgiving,
Or drink.
Christmas. Yeah. All the big meals. So with that can come food guilt and body pressure. So what advice do you have for women who might be feeling like maybe they're eating too much or feeling insecure about something?
Yeah, starting with the drinking comment, like people who struggle with alcoholism struggle around the holidays a lot of times because it is a time when we just drink a lot more, honestly.
Indulge.
It's cultural.
Yeah.
So I'd encourage you be aware of those situations, know your limits, because if you're going to wake up hungover and miserable in the morning, is it worth it? So just knowing what's actually good for you and your body versus what's going to kind of feed into alcohol's a depressant. It's going to make me feel worse if I'm already lonely and those kinds of things. So that's just a note on the alcohol side of it. But as far as food goes, I think the question is like, how do I normally feel about food? Am I being conscious of my body for a health reason or because I feel like my value is tied to what I'm looking like? And if I gain a pound or two around the holidays, is my self-worth affected? Or am I worried about my health? If you're worried about your health, no, talk to your doctor ahead of time. Talk to your therapist ahead of time. Make a game plan for how am I going to allow myself to enjoy these things and not restrict without feeling like I'm going to binge, for example, if somebody's struggling with binge eating. Knowing maybe it's easier for me to be at somebody else's house with the holiday foods versus keeping them in my own home. And if it's, about that mental health side, I really encourage people, think about what makes people love you. And your body, it's not going to be on that list. And treat yourself the same way. Value your experiences and your time with people over your relationship with food. Your relationship with food is important, but if you put it in the context of your relationship with others, you're going to be much healthier with it, just in general.
I will say, Parker asked me yesterday when we were allowed to have pumpkin pie. Apparently he was excited for this time of year.
I think we all are.
That's what I'm saying. And I think I agree with what you're saying. Like, yeah, you can make yourself feel bad about it, but like, I don't eat pumpkin pie other than this time of year. So like, if I get my pumpkin pie, I'm going to go eat my pumpkin pie, So yeah,
absolutely.
It brings me joy. I Marie Kondoed my kitchen.
Yeah.
There you go. And so maybe pumpkin pie is what brings you joy, but you couldn't care less about the apple pie. Mm-hmm. Okay.
No need
so
to
eat
have
the
it all.
pumpkin pie. Yeah.
I actually like apple too, but that's okay.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying. All right, Kara. We want to wrap up pretty quick or whatever, because I feel like we could deep dive into this a little bit longer. But overall, you've given us some really good tips about protecting boundaries and delegation and things like that. But from the mind and heart of Kara Pepper, when you want people to think about the holidays, what do you want them to take away from them?
What brings you joy about the holidays? What do you actually treasure about the holidays? Do that. Let them be a time that bring you gratitude and connection rather than a representation of the materialistic isolation that we often find. That is honestly what affects our mental health a lot. If we willingly engage in community, if we willingly adjust tradition to fit what we need right now, we're going to have a whole lot better experience of all of these holidays. We're not going to have 3 months of stress. It's going to be what it was actually meant to be, which was connection to faith community, connection to family, friends, connection to our values. Those are the things that matter with the holidays.
It's that time of the show, the fun time, where we're going to let you pick a trending topic and tell us about it.
Okay. What are tips for handling seasonal depression?
Ooh.
I think number one, seasonal depression is real. Seasonal affective disorder is what it's clinically called.
Sad.
Yeah.
Yes, literally. SAD is the acronym. Mm-hmm. It is real. And so if you notice yourself becoming a little more sluggish this time of year energy-wise, or in terms of like you feel exhausted maybe by hanging out with people, you feel the desire to pull back because you're overwhelmed by the holidays, those kind of things. It's real. It's there for a reason. Our bodies thrive off of sunshine and engaging in those types of things, the outdoor activities that we do in the summer, even football in the fall, outside, enjoying, and then all of a sudden things get dark and dreary. And so I always encourage people, one, like think about when am I getting sunlight in the winter? Mm-hmm. Even if it's cold, getting a few minutes of sunlight is going to help. They also make sunlight lamps, those kinds of things. Some people find real success using those kind of things. Talking to your doctor about vitamin D, vitamin B, those kind of things that can help with energy. All of those things are good. Making sure that we're not just holing up in our homes in the evening when it's dark. Mm-hmm. Also a plus. Those holiday gatherings do help with some of that. So I always encourage people, look for that balance. Look for what's my physical reason for the depression. Lack of sunlight, cold weather, all of those things, dreariness. Those are real. But then also making sure we're engaging with the relational side of it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that time change, but it's coming.
Yeah. It's okay. The sun will come back out again in March, but it's fine. Kara, thank you so much for being here with us again today. We always enjoy having you on. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
And if you guys want to hear more, follow us anywhere you can find your podcast, and we'll see you next time.
This podcast explores health-related topics with experts in their specialty for entertainment purposes only.
The information shared and discussed should not be considered as medical advice under any circumstance and is not intended to replace professional medical advice.
The views expressed do not reflect the views of Covenant Health System. For questions related to your personal health, always contact your physician.